This call 811.com every dig, every time, 200 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kutt. Kutt is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to Kutt.com, that's Kutt.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, NHL, college basketball, NASCAR, and more. Sign up today using promo code RACESGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Champs. Run your own March Madness pool and enter Champs free bracket contest for a chance to win $1,000. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs to enter today. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Because talking racing things is what we are here to do. It is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Instant apologies to all of you who wanted to watch on Facebook, but apparently hackers have deemed it to where everything is against community standards. Therefore, there is no watching it live on Facebook today until the hackers get things sorted out. Cody.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure it out, and I don't know if it's because it's the title of the race is Call 811. I think that is the issue, because I tried like even copying the link and sharing it and it won't let me. So I'm gonna see if it'll let me share. Like, it won't let me to my own Facebook. It won't let me to the page's Facebook.
Well, to be honest with you, I've seen several people post lately that they have gotten that same message that it is.
Yeah, it won't let me upload any. Yeah, what? That's weird.
Yeah, so we can't do this. But for those of you listening on the traditional podcast platform, watching on YouTube or on X, you don't even know the difference. So we are here. We are here to talk today about the. Get ready for this. Go ahead and just grab whatever.
I'm gonna take a coffee break while Rod talks about
Please do.
this.
This race is called the Call 811.com every dig, every time 200. That is what this race is called. I know that I think we've shortened it to Call 811.com 200. So
multiple periods in the title of this race. That's highly unnecessary, Rod.
I think the entire thing is unnecessary. NASCAR, tighten this up. We don't need a 600 word. And this is terrible for SEO too, by the way, just so you guys know. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, SEO does not like too many words in a title, and the title of this race way too far. It's thank you to 811 supporting NASCAR. We greatly appreciate it. And make sure you call before you dig, because they're afraid you're going to dig something up that you shouldn't. But
or someone.
Well, yeah, maybe that's the issue. But can we just shorten it a little bit? Huh?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the shortened version is Call 811.com 200. So that is what I will refer to it as. You don't need to know every dig every time, because at this point, it's already ingrained in your memory. So. Checking in real quick. Chat was blowing up before we even got in again. Yes. So thanks to all of you to watch live. Walter's in there. Phoenix, let's go. Looking forward to another great show. Thank you. You've set your standards too high. I hope we deliver. Chris talking about what's up, Rod and Cody. Is this the NHRA gambling hour? Cody, we talked about it in Discord.
It might be tomorrow. We'll see. As there's NHRA odds available, which I'm gonna have to do some studying. Is John Force still racing, and his daughter, because that's the two drag racers. Well, Tony Stewart is racing, so hopefully there's odds on him. We'll just give him out, I guess. But yeah, we can get NHRA odds, which is great. That's awesome. But no IndyCar odds. So
beggars can't be choosers at this point, I suppose.
No, I'm going to be both.
Nick talking about China hackers. Indeed. Ash saying, evening, guys. Ash here. Chandler Smith, top 3, like Herbst over Amarola in the head-to-head.
We're getting in. We're getting into this. Don't worry.
Ash is in the dock. I'm telling you right now, we have fostered, and that's just the people that chat.
You guys know what to bet before we even get on the show.
Swear to God, we have taught you guys well, and this is the glorious part about being, I suppose, a parent, right? Is it when you teach your kids, they go out and do good things on their own, and you don't got to tell them, right? Is that where we're at this point?
I guess so.
I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud to see all these guys with good bets.
Great. You know where we're going. That's good. You know what to look for. That's awesome. We love that. So, and we're glad you're still here anyways.
Say again?
And we're glad you're still here hanging out with us.
Oh, absolutely. Nick Fortune saying he did call 800 dig before he planted a crab tree for his wife.
The 800 dig doesn't do you any good because it's 811. Or is it 800? Fuck, I don't know what it is.
It's 811. Cody,
we should know after we just talked about it for 5 minutes.
I'm just saying, like, NASCAR.
I don't even know what number to call now.
You just call whatever you want. Actually, just
911. What? Oh, no,
as many political phone calls as I've been getting the last few days, I don't care who calls anymore. I'm just ignoring it. Even if I know the person, I'm like, nope, you're calling for political purposes. Screw you. So, all right. Anyways. This is the Xfinity race. We will be talking about it at Phoenix. Obviously, the first of the kind, the short, flat mile track here as well for this series after 4 different track configurations in 4 different weeks. A couple of Cup guys driving down for this race as well. So we got some good odds, Cody, on some really good. I mean, the odds were great. The selection could have used a little bit more this time.
Like I said to you before we started, I was a little more happy with Xfinity than Cup this week. I started a little bit to find stuff I really loved on Cup yesterday. We did find stuff, obviously. Go back and check that show out. But I kind of like the IndyCar. Or, geez, I got IndyCar on the mind today, Rod. I'm really excited for IndyCar to be back. So I really like the Xfinity odds. I would love to like the IndyCar odds, but there is none. So, but I did like Xfinity odds. Maybe I just took all the good bets. Obviously, all the Toyota bets were taken by the time you got in the documents, so I can understand how you might not have liked things as much anymore.
Joke's on you. I didn't like Toyota anyways. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the thing. I honestly, when I got to the dock, you guys, we're 363 episodes into this show. It is a race to the dock at this point. Like I mean, Cody usually sends me to as soon as we're done taping, and he knows full well that I'm cutting up this episode to put it on the podcast form.
I got half the bets filled out before I send you the document half the time.
Guys, like anytime he sends me the doc, it's usually already full on his side. I'm like, well, fine, then I'll just pick whoever's left. Like, and usually that's the back markers, and I'm like, well, screw that, then I'll figure out what I want. But
I leave all the Chevys in Xfinity for you. So
yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I appreciate that because I took advantage of that as well. Nick wanting to know, for tax purposes, are you claiming us as dependents? I already did, guys.
Not Nick, but everyone else in here, yes.
Can we bet who gets to the dock first? Oh, dude, that's a cut bet win.
I'm a heavy favorite on that one, but we could probably arrange that.
Hi, Tiger. Look, you don't want the odds to that one. There's, Max Verstappen.
Rod is the one who used to create the document all the time. Then I just figured out how to copy and paste, and I beat him to it now.
It's true. He used to wait for
all I do is just copy an old document, put it in there, erase the bets, and fill in my bets. What's the time I don't even erase the bets. I just leave the same ones in there.
Actually, it's kind of true if you look at the doc this time. It's like that. So Nick Fortune shocked that you couldn't claim him as a dependent. That's all right, Nick. We still love you. Nick. But yes, so we are going Xfinity, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Like we said, there's some Cup names in there to be aware of, and we'll get to all of that and set up this race for you. But before we do, I want to tell you about Kutt. Kutt is exactly what we talked about. You want to cut bet on who gets to the document first? I'm telling you right now, that's verifiable because all we got to do is put in the Discord, Cody wins again, and that is not even a joke. So you could request a Kutt, a soft or friendly little bet on who fills out the bets first in the NASCAR Gambling Podcast document. And we'll see what happens there. But other than that, Kutt's a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is new, and it's a better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends or other users on sports. Not just that, but politics, pop culture, and, of course, who gets to the dock first in the NASCAR Gambling Podcast world. As long as it's got a verifiable outcome, it's fair game. It's tons of fun and social features that give it the feel of a betting social network. Plus, Kutt offers the lowest VIG and fully customizable odds, which means, as we've said before, create your own bets. Not only that, Kutt handles the payment side of things, so you never got to chase anybody down for money again. Thank God people making bets with me don't have to chase me down anymore, because I'm usually long gone before it's time to pay up. I'm just kidding. I pay all my bets. Social features are there too, that are group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and more. Plus rewards. Get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. Make sure you're checking out Kutt, though. There are some plenty of good features out there, futures out there that Cody has put on NASCAR as far as winning championships, winning bets. So Cody's already posted a bunch on there. You might as well go take them up on all of those as well. Download Kutt today in the App Store or head over at kutt.com. That's KUTT, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. You know, we love us some Underdog fantasy, and this week we're going to give you all of our favorite Underdog plays as soon as they are available, not just for Kutt, but probably for Xfinity too. We're going to try to crank up some Xfinity Underdog as well this season and try to get you going through it. And then, of course, if you like F1, F1 is there as well. It's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. So much to happen. If you want to do the racing, you pick better or worse than the anticipated finishing position of the driver. It's that simple. And on any other sport, you pick higher or lower on their projected stats, and just watch that multiplier just shoot up. And then, of course, watch your wallet shoot up as well as you start winning. And, of course, win up to 100 times on your entry with those spicy little chilies. Look for those chilies. Those chilies are going to boost up your winning potential. Cannot beat it. So simple. Honestly, it's probably the most fun I've had playing fantasy in a very long time. So sign up today with promo code SGPN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pickup special. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with our promo code RACESGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pickup special. Must be 18 or older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit at www.ncpgambling.org. All right, Cody, as we said, it is the let me take a deep breath before I get into this. It is the call811.com. Every dig, every time 200 at the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. We're in for 200 laps around this mile paved track for, you guessed it, 200 miles. Again, we talked about the fact that there's a couple of Cup drivers in this, which has been driving some odds. So, Cody, what does the entrance list look like?
Yes, I do have the entry list here, Rod, somewhere. No, just kidding. It's right here. Well, I did have.
Could you call 811?
I got distracted by. I was checking out Kutt. I need to. All of my wagers I had out there have been accepted.
Ooh.
Not feeling so good about that Sheldon Creed over wins one that I had put out there, but the rest I do feel good about. So I'll have to replace some bets over there so you can cut them up with me. But yes, I do have the entry list here. 39 entries for 38 spots, so someone will not make this race. Luckily, they're in Phoenix, so weather should not be an issue here, although weather was an issue last week with trash bags. But anyways, speaking of trash bags, William Byron entered in this race in the number 7 car. Do you like that, Rod? That was a pretty good lead-in, wasn't it? So, yeah, William Byron is going to be in the 17 Hendrick car. Again, Hendrick is running this car a decent bit this year. All 4 Cup guys are going to be driving in Xfinity. Boris said as well, making a start or two in that car. This will be the first appearance by the 17 this season, and so that will be William Byron. He is going to be piloting that car. You got the 2 Joe Gibbs rotators. Eric Almirola is back this week in the 19 car. John Hernemechek back again in the 20 car. And then Corey Heim is back in the 26 again for Sam Hunt Racing. And I believe that is all of the really notable drivers as I just quickly browse through here. A couple TBAs. The 92 is to be announced. The 32 for Jordan Anderson to be announced, but likely won't be significant drivers anyways.
I'm seeing Nick Lights as the driver of the 92. So I don't know if that's true or not.
That's not significant.
Yeah, I was going to say, but we're not really focusing on that. In fact, I don't know that the books even know what to do with him anyways. To be like,
that will affect absolutely nothing.
Yeah. DM Punk saying, call 411 for the 411 for Mary J. Blige race to the Dock 500.
Yes, that will be the official name when we get that over on Kutt.
Race to the Dock 400. Yeah, again, so when we talked about it earlier about the books being sort of loose or not really loose, but not full of options. But like I said, the odds, I found good odds just from the simple fact that William Byron is in this race and he drove a lot of those odds back up. But that's what we talk about every time.
It's such a gift. And you look back to last week at Vegas in the Truck Series, and yeah, the Raja Kruth was still going to be long odds, but he was probably a little longer because Kyle Busch was in there. And you look at the other guys that pushed down, and I know that they didn't win, but Kyle Busch didn't win either. And so, you look back at William Byron. Do you have any bets on William Byron before I talk about him, Rob? Oh,
yes.
you do have bets.
We'll talk about it soon.
We'll talk about that. But he doesn't always win every time he comes to Xfinity, much like Kyle Busch doesn't always win every time he goes to the Truck Series. We saw a good example of that last week. And so it does push the other guy's odds down, which is always a gift, especially some of these other top regulars that you get better odds on, which is always a very nice thing to have.
Yeah. So that's what we always preach to you as well, is don't just always assume that because the Cup guys are down, they're going to be the ones to walk away with the winners. Now, in this case, we'll talk about it in a second, but more often than not, it's not the case. And you do find good value, especially on these top threes, top fives. If they ever gave us top tens in Xfinity, that'd be fantastic, but that's neither here nor there.
It'd be such a beautiful day.
We
can't even get IndyCar odds, Rod. Stop asking for other stuff.
I know, right? Is there any other news? Is there anything else that
I don't think we touched on the Buescher thing yesterday, but his couple pit members were suspended, the front changer and the jackman for the tire coming off. So they'll be suspended for 2 races. So I have not seen anything on them appealing that, which there's not really any reason to appeal it. It was pretty obvious the tire came off. So I would assume those guys will be sitting out the next 2 weeks. But that's really not super. I mean, always not great for a team to have backup guys, right? We've seen how much the starters can struggle on some of these teams, and they're the ones who didn't get the tire secure. So now you're going to the backup guys, but maybe they're better at getting the tire secure. Who knows? But yeah, that's really the only other piece of news. That's been a pretty quiet day or two here in NASCAR. Not a lot going on as they're kind of getting ready to stay out on the West Coast there and head to Phoenix.
West Coast swing. Yeah, it always seems dull a little bit in that instance where it's just sort of like the calm before the storm for sure. Okay. Well, then I guess all that's left to do is start setting up the betting card. Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. But first, let's tell you about Champs. Champs is hosting a free March Madness bracket contest for a chance to win $1,000. Plus, if you host your own March Madness pool on Champs, you'll get an extra free entry into the bracket contest. Got a tiebreaker? It's determined by who enters first, so make sure you're going to register now so you don't miss out. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs. I'm leaving that graphic up there because I'm super proud of it. I made it myself, so look at it, study it, go enter.
I did want to say it looks beautiful. I know you felt like you were struggling with it beforehand, but it looks great, Rob.
Thank you very much. I love that. All right, now we'll give it its just due. Let's talk about Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NBA and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bet's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. Cody, it's been a week, and therefore I have my Captain and Morgan and root beer. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I know it's not 5 o'clock here on the West Coast, but
Past 5 o'clock here. It's almost
5,
6 o'clock.
So
you're good to go.
I am good to go. I swear, I'm telling you, like, I'm ready to just talk NASCAR and have a nice Captain and root beer and enjoy the rest of the day. JDK saying, I'm sure Reddick has a couple of guys that Bushers could have. Ooh.
Yeah. That's I did love Denny addressed the issue because both teams had the nut got stuck on the 23. Whether that's the crew's fault, hard to tell exactly what happened there, but he did address it and say basically like they get JGR's leftover scraps and that they don't, once they get their own pit facility, things are going to be a lot different. So that doesn't help right now, but oh well, at least eventually someday Reddick will have a better pit crew, hopefully. Ash also says almost midnight there, so you're perfect to enjoy the drink. So thanks for staying up with us and hanging out in the middle of the night over there, Ash. We appreciate it.
No, man.
All right. You ready to do this, Rod?
I'm ready to do it. I've been ready. Let's go.
I don't know if we've ever placed this bet before, but Austin Hill top 5. Just go back and listen to any Xfinity show from last year. Like, why do they keep giving us plus? It was plus 225 when I put it in the doc. It's come down to plus 190 because smart people are out there betting it. Hopefully, you are one of those people. If not, get over there and bet it because, dude, Austin Hill is just. It doesn't matter where we go. He is good everywhere. He's solid. He's not in a JGR car. He's not in a JRM car. RCR is kind of that next tier, and we understand that he's not in the elite equipment. But guys like Austin Hill, guys like AJ Allmendinger, they just drive better than their equipment is, and they're going to hang around all day. He's going to be 5th to 10th place a majority of the day. Then all of a sudden at the last minute, it's going to be like, oh, there's Austin Hill in the top 5. I can't explain why it happens. He's just really good at hanging around, being there ready to pounce, and he does it every time. So Austin Hill at almost 2-1 for a top 5 over on Caesars. Absolute must bet. JDK says still plus 220 on 365. Ty Tiger as well. Well, shit then. Never mind. I'm changing my bet. It is Austin Hill top 5 plus 220 over on Bet 365. That's going to be the official play because we're going to take the better odds. And this is why you shop around. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it for showing that out or finding that for me. So Austin Hill, last 2 starts here, 7th place. I understand that's not in the top 5, but he's right there. He's close, and he's consistently top. I mean, we're 3 races into the season, and he's got 4 top, or he's got 2 wins and another top 5 finish. His 4th place last week at Las Vegas, again, super speedways. But to my point of he finds himself in the top 5 at the end, he just does it. He was 3rd place at New Hampshire last year. Again, one of the more comparable tracks to this one. 16 top 5 finishes last season. And again, he's 3 for 3 so far this season. I think he's going to keep that up. So give me Austin Hill top 5 plus 220. I also snuck Chandler Smith into this box. Who was it that mentioned Chandler Smith up here a little while ago? Wow, that's a lot of comments. I got to scroll way up. But, oh, yeah, it was Ash, our buddy Ash over there across the pond. Likes Chandler Smith top 3. I went with the top 5 here because I like it. It's only minus 120. And Ash is finding even better numbers for the Austin Hill. He's plus 225 under DraftKings. I got to shop around better, Rod. Anyways, Chandler Smith, top 5, minus 120. Probably my favorite bet on the entire board. Look, did anybody watch the race last week? I don't know if we saw how fucking fast Chandler Smith was. That ain't going anywhere. I know this is a different kind of track, but he is the one that's going to show up. He's going to be the lead guy over there. John Hunter obviously is in the camp still as well for part-time, but for the full-time guys, obviously Sheldon Creed's not going to be the one pulling the weight. I think he showed us that last week. Hopefully that was a bit of a fluke, but definitely off him right now. Love Chandler Smith, top 5, minus 120. You go back to, so one thing to note too, Jeff Mendering is the crew chief on this car. He's been on this in the JGR camp for a while here. Last season, won both poles here with Sammy Smith driving that car. Sammy Smith, a talented driver, not to the level of a Chandler Smith by any means. So that is notable. In the spring, Sammy Smith led 92 laps in the car that Jeff Mendering set up. He's won twice here with Brandon Jones in the past. Or he's won once here with Brandon Jones, and he's got 2 top 5s with Brandon Jones as well. So he's been pretty solid at setting the car up for this. Again, the Xfinity car hasn't changed, so you can look back over the course of a long time. He's consistently been good here with drivers that are not to the level of a Chandler Smith, in my opinion. Chandler, in his 2 races last season, the College car, 8th and 5th, strong runs. One of those already in the top 5. And again, that's an Acoli car, Rod. We know these JGR cars. I don't know. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. These JGR Toyotas are the fastest Toyotas, and they're the fastest cars out there in the field. So really good there. Truck starts. He's got 4 truck starts here, Rod. Third, first, and third. He's been very, very fast. Great race last week. Ends up, again, the fastest car at Las Vegas, not getting the win. He's going to be looking for revenge this week. Whether he wins the race or not, doesn't matter. He's going to get in the top 5 here with this one. Ryan Truex was also second here last season in a strong car, in a strong Gibbs car. So leads to showing the Gibbs cars have been good here. Obviously, Ty Gibbs won a couple of years ago in the Xfinity Series here as well. So the Gibbs cars have been strong here in Xfinity. Chandler's been strong here in the truck and Xfinity Series. I think a top 5 for him, a minus 120 could be, I'm in at plus 120. Yes. God, you guys are just great. Ty Tiger pointing out plus 120 on Bet365. I would buy it at minus 120, plus 120, even fucking better. Let's go.
I love both of these. I mean, honestly, I can't argue with you. And when you look at Austin Hill and that top 5 run, or that 7th place run rather, in the actual last race of the season for the Xfinity Championship, you take out a guy like Sheldon Creed, who's not going to end up finishing second in that race again. In fact, he may not finish 22nd in this race. And Josh Berry, who's not even participating, that's a top 5 finish. So I like that as well. But unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and take AJ Allmendinger over Austin Hill.
Sacrilegious, Rob. What are you doing here? What?
Look, so Austin Hill can finish top 5. That's fantastic. But I think Allmendinger has a really good finish in him as well this week. You look at what he's done here in the Xfinity Series as far as on this track in particular. And he's got look, he's not spectacular, but he's definitely somebody who I could get behind. A 5th place finish last season, or in 2022 in the fall when he took this last time, and then a 7th place finish in the spring race of 2022. He does have a 5th place finish as well in that 16 car. So 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s in 6 races total. But I think what we've seen out of AJ so far is a steady improvement. I mean, 10th in Daytona, 13th in Atlanta, throw those out. But he did get 6th place in Vegas after starting 3rd, right? So, I mean, the 16 car is no joke. And he does belong in this Xfinity Series. He knows it. Colleague knows it. That's why they're giving him the complete and total keys to the car, and literally the keys to the car in this
Not
stable.
literally, Rod. There's no keys.
Okay, fine. The switch to the car, the fob, right? Because I guess it's a fob. So, yeah. But again, like I said, I really truly believe that AJ Allmendinger is going to get within the top 5. So I think both of these cars could be in the top 5, but I still think AJ Allmendinger is in for a really good finish. I'm scared to predict a top 5 and or a 3rd place finish for AJ. Now, if there was a top 10 number, I would hammer the hell out of that. But because there isn't, I'm a little bit skeptical of saying a top 5 or top 3, because let's just say that Austin Hill runs into trouble, heaven forbid, and AJ Allmendinger finishes in 10th, right? And so then this bet still cashes at the very least, and I'm not trying to sweat a top 5 or a top 3 for AJ Allmendinger. So at plus 105 over on Superbook, this is probably one of my favorite matchups of the day, because like I said, both of these guys are going to be strong, and they're both going to be jockeying for a top 5 finish. Like I said, I feel like AJ Allmendinger has a better day out of him.
I agree with you. They're both going to be strong. I agree with you. They're both going to be there at the end. I used him as an example of a guy that's going to be there at the end, like Hill. But I don't know that I can fade Austin Hill like that. But best of luck to you, Rod. Hopefully he scores the top 5. Maybe AJ still beats him, and we can cash both of them. One I am pretty confident in, and I love the number over on DraftKings, plus 150 for John Hunter Nemechek to finish in the top 3, Rod. Again, did we learn anything from last week? He's still going to show up in these cars. He's still going to be fast. He's still going to be good. And again, a guy like William Byron is in this race. If you're afraid he's going to win the race, you take John Hunter Nemechek top 3 at plus 150. He was, plus 330 to win the race last week, and now he only has to do is finish in the top 3 for basically half the price. I don't fully understand that. It's not like William Byron's the only driver we're adding to this race. It's not William Byron and Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin and all. So that doesn't exactly make a ton of sense to me. John Hunter Nemechek won the race last week, of course. He led 66 laps last year in the fall before he was crashed late. So the result not indicative of how he was running, kind of got crazy. But you go back and you look at his finishes here. While he doesn't have a win, so I think maybe they're taking that into account, but 6th, 5th, 6th. He had a 4th place in a GMS Xfinity car and 2 9th places in GMS Xfinity cars. So he's run solid at least and done well. He's still John Hunter Nemechek. We saw last week he's still going to have the speed. And you know, again, you're taking basically, I think you're taking a JGR car out of the equation because Sheldon Creed did not look good. Maybe last week was a fluke. Maybe he'll come out and prove that this week. I hope so, because I have that cut bet for him to win 3 races, Rod. But I don't know. You just didn't see it from him. So love John Hunter Nemechek, top 3 here, plus 150. Again, it was a struggle. He's plus 600 to win. I considered tossing him in there. I was about to, but there's another Toyota that's at the same price that I like more. Surprise, you'll find out about that later. But I had to get John Hunter in here somehow, and I think plus 150 for top 3 is a steal for John Hunter.
I mean, just looking at the rest of those top drivers and their odds for 3s and top 5s, it just, to me, it almost feels like it's not worth it, except for John Hunter Nemechek. That's the only one that I would feel comfortable with a top 3. And in fact, I looked at it, but then again, when I looked at it,
somebody had already taken it. Huh?
Somebody had already taken it. So
and like you look at the odds board, and like it's Byron is the favorite, and then it's, you know, John Hunter is kind of, well, depending on where you look, it's a mixture of Byron, Allgaier, Nemechek, Smith. Like those are the kind of the, you know, Byron's the clear favorite, then the other 3 are kind of mixed up a little bit right behind there. But plus 150 for a top 3 is a good number, I think, on John Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that even plus money for John Hunter, considering what he's done here before. All right, look, guys, I'm going to formally announce that I've learned my lesson. I am no longer going to be on the Jesse Love train.
But Rod, he looks so good at this 2 poles in a row. Nobody's ever done it before. The new GOAT of the Xfinity Series.
No one cares what you think, Cody. No, I just... Sorry, I've been watching too much SmackDown lately. No, listen, for Jesse Love, he's talented. He's going to win races. He's going to be good. He's going to be fantastic. Yes, you're right. 2 poles got me a little excited. I'm going to cut that clip out. 2 poles got me excited and thought about maybe backing him a little more, but the finishes have not been there, unfortunately. A 20th, the 12th, and a 17th. That is nowhere near what you need to be bet on week to week. So I'm going to fade Jesse Love for the first time in my betting career. I apologize to you Jesse Love truthers out there.
Jesse Love's about to win this race now.
Yeah, I swear to God, that's fine. I'm okay. If that's what it takes for Jesse Love to get on, then I can get back on the bandwagon. Then I could take everything back and be back on him again. No, I'm going to take Sam Mayer over Jesse Love. And maybe it's because my JRM love comes shining through once again. But like I said, I mean, in the last 3 races, he's been quick, obviously, to start, and 2 poles on super speedways is impressive. Leading 191 laps over the first 2 races is impressive, but he got a taste of reality last week, started 15th and ended up 17th, and what is really more of a race that you're going to see going forward. Whereas Sam Mayer on this track, it's not his favorite track, I'm sure. He's got an average finish of 17th place in 5 starts on this one. But the last 2 races have been pretty good. I mean, 11th place for Sam Mayer in the spring of 2023 in this race last year. And then in the fall, he ended up finishing 5th. And remember, he was on that tear. He was on that absolute tear where he was winning races and just a good car overall. So to me, again, it's the seasoned veteranness. I say seasoned veteranness of Sam Mayer, even though the kid's like just barely old enough to buy cigarettes by himself. I think that's what
2003 he was born, Rod. So
oh my God,
I think actually, and his birthday's in June, so I don't think he's old, because you got to be 21 to buy cigarettes nowadays, I believe.
Really? I thought it was 18.
Oh, in Nebraska, I think it's 21.
I thought it was 16 if you bought it. If you had an adult buying it for you. What? No, I'm just kidding. Now, he's had a rough start to the season.
You wonder why Facebook won't let us stream, Rod. Jeez, come on.
It's community standards. That's going to be my new nickname. I'm Rod against community standards via Gomez. And no, so look, it hasn't been great for him either. Sam Mayer's had a really rough go of it. He crashed out in Daytona, crashed out in Las Vegas. So it's going to take a Herculean effort for him to get there. But I still think he's going to finish better than Jesse Love, who, as we've seen now, needs a little seasoning in order to get over the hump. So Mayer over Love, this is minus 120. Hate that it's juiced so much, but I'll still take it.
Yeah, I don't mind the juice at all. Mayer, a guy that is being a little bit overlooked, Rod. I actually just added a bet on him towards the end of the show, so I know that's going to mess up your graphic, but that'll be a bonus bet you'll have to stay tuned and listen to, because it's been a rough start to his season, but we'll get into it a little bit more. Rod, I want to go ahead and apologize for this portion of the show, but I don't feel bad for giving out bets that are going to hit, so there is that. This is
right now. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Fade Justin Allgaier segment of the show. Justin Allgaier, Rod. People hopefully you're watching this on YouTube to see or not see Rod at this point in time. Justin Allgaier, he's kind of got a history, and he's known as a guy who's great at Phoenix and all this and that. But Rod, that's not necessarily always the case. And much like Denny Hamlin, like we talked about yesterday, I think Justin Allgaier, maybe it's an old guy thing. Look, you could answer this question, right? You're an old guy. Just slow starters. Takes a little while to get it up and get it going, if you know what I'm saying. So I think that's the case here. So I'm going to take two matchups against Justin Allgaier. John Hunter Nemechek over Justin Allgaier, minus 120 on Caesars, and Chandler Smith over Justin Allgaier, minus 110. I don't know if you guys have ever heard me say this before, but the JGR Toyotas in the Xfinity Series are the fastest cars in the field. Chandler Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, the best drivers in the field. Justin Allgaier, I said it last week, Rod. I'll say it again this week. Tough guy to bet on. He's so good, and he looks good, and he'll look good throughout points of the race, and then something always happens. Doesn't matter if it's his fault, if it's the pit crew's fault, if it's the trash bag's fault. Something always gets in Justin Allgaier's way. But you go back and you look in the last two fall races, third place, Rod. He's been very, very solid here. But last spring, 36th, he got crashed. But that goes to the point of something always gets in the way. Something always happens. And 10th in the spring of 2022 as well. You go back and you look before that, he was 9th, 8th, 5th, 13th, a win in 2019. So some solid runs in there for sure. But, Rod, if you go back and you look farther back than that, he was really fucking good here. He won a bunch of races, always in the top 3 and 5. But guess what they did, Rod? They flipped the track. And what used to be turns 1 and 2 is now turns 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is now 1 and 2. Backstretch used to be the front stretch. And since they've done that, he's not been as good at this track. And I think, kind of looking at it, I think that is part of what happened here. He was good in the old layout, and he's not been as good in this layout. And I don't know if it's the restarts that are getting him, or they do fan out like they do crazy because you're going right into the dog leg like that. Whereas before that was on the other side of the track. Interesting, I think. But a little bit on the fade, Justin Allgaier. And not that I think he's going to be bad. I think he'll have a strong car. If he went out and won this race, I wouldn't be that surprised by it. I will say that. But enough times things get in Justin Allgaier's way. He shoots him. I don't know if he races for Ferrari on the side, shoots himself in the foot all the time. A little F1 reference for you there. But it just seems like something's always in the way of Justin Allgaier doing good. And you're giving me the two best cars, the two guys I like the most. William Byron maybe too, because you got to include him in there. But John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith, the fastest cars last week, the fastest cars on a week-to-week basis, two of the best drivers in the field. And Justin Allgaier's in a fast car and a good driver as well, but you can't trust him. And I like the JGR Toyotas over the JRM Chevys, and it's been that way for a couple of seasons now, really since the departure of Noah Gragson. Justin Allgaier is going to be fine this season. He's going to have wins down the road. I think there's something to that little bit of a slow start like a Denny Hamlin, where he'll get into the groove in a little bit, and then he'll start clicking them off, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. So John Hunter over Justin Allgaier, minus 120 on Caesars. Chandler Smith over Allgaier, which minus 110. God, that's a gift from the gods there over on Superbook. So Superbook delivering once again, but yeah, love both of those and get a fade Justin Allgaier a little bit this week.
And what's sad is I can't even argue with you. I mean, as much as I love, that
that's
is the
not
best
sad, Rod. That's the greatest part about it.
Well, that's because every time I tried to go in and look at Allgaier, I was like, all right, I'm going to grab this for, oh my God, he's really not that good here in this. And then I would go back and I go, but I want to, but I can't. And then when I got to the dock and you had faded him completely, I was like, that son of a, oh, he's right. And so I can't argue with you. You know, it's like my wife. I can't argue with her because I never win. So I can't argue with you on this one as well. Ty Tiger saying, Rod, since you do the cut for the podcast, you can cut that segment out. I think I will. I think this will be our featured podcast, our featured stuff right there.
I'm curious if he wants us to cut it out and feature it or cut it completely out of the show. I don't know. If you listen to the podcast version, you might not have heard that whole last segment. Who knows?
That's true. Steve Williams wants to know, why is Ryan Sieg because plus 13 the top 5.
So interesting. This could be an interesting one to look at. I don't think either of us have this on our card.
No.
Last week we kind of get some insider news later on in the week that he was in an SHR satellite car, basically, which is, I don't know how that works. They've got a technical alliance with SHR, I believe, and I don't know if they just felt like that was one of the races they wanted to buy an SHR prepped car, basically. Is he going to have that again this week? We're still on the West Coast swing, but not a mile and a half car. Like, the car is going to be set up differently. So at 13-1, worth a little stab, maybe, for sure. Maybe we'll get some more insider info. I don't want to give our guy out on the show in case he doesn't want his name dropped with that. But we'll have to. I know you're in the Discord, so we'll see if we can get the info on what Sieg's driving this week. Because if it is an SHR prepped car, I mean, we saw it last week, right? Where'd he end up 6th or 7th? He was really close to the top 5, I think, and had a really strong run, which nobody really expected because we didn't expect him to be in an SHR type of car, basically.
Yeah, no, and we all know that SHR in Xfinity, much different case than an SHR in the Cup Series. However,
go back and listen to yesterday's show. A lot
That's
of
true.
SHR love on these short flat tracks, Rod.
A little bit of SHR love, depending. I mean, no, it doesn't matter what the driver is. We're going for them. So, all right. Look, I'm gonna take my next one as Riley Herbst, top 5 plus 190 in this race. Riley Herbst is good. I almost feel like I should just end with that, because Riley Herbst.
All right, my next bet, Rod. Oh.
Well, again, Riley Herbst was a top 5 machine for us over the last few seasons. He's been one of those auto bets at top 5, and this continues. The last 2 races on this track have been 4th place finishes. The last was a 7th place before that. He had a 38th when he crashed out of 2022 in the spring, but before that, fall of 2021, he finished 4th. In the spring of 2021, he finished 4th. So if you're counting, that is 4 top 4 finishes in 6 races. That's pretty damn good. All of those obviously inside the top 5 on this one. What has he done this season? Well, a 6th at Daytona, okay. 15th at Atlanta, okay. But a 5th place in Las Vegas, which, as we know, the season and the betting season officially start at Las Vegas. So, I mean, for me, Riley Herbst once again becomes an auto top 5 bet. And at plus 190, it makes it even more of a steal. Because for me and my money, like, Riley Herbst is one of those guys that he's going to break through for a couple of wins this season and really just make his name known. And I think he's actually going to get a cup ride after this season because of his performance. I know there's a couple of
car.
The 21. There you go. Give him a Wood Brothers car. That's
where
fine.
I got it. I would love. Man, guys like
Could
Ryan
it be a
Blaney.
Monster 21 though?
Well, I mean, Wood Brothers will take money. They don't care. I mean, well, they'll take it. Dex is on that car all the time for Harrison. That's why do you think Harrison has that ride, Rod? He brings a lot of sponsorship money with him. But guys like Ryan Blaney used to win in that car. Now it's just been run by guys that aren't good lately. So.
Yeah, but anyways, hopefully Riley Herbst gets that chance next year, and as he does, he'll get a top 5 this week and sort of climb all the way through to earn that ride. But yeah, Riley Herbst once again, auto bet top 5 plus 190. I love it that it's still close enough to 2-1 that we're going to hammer it down soon, and we're not going to see this at plus 190 very much longer. But we'll take it now.
Yeah, Riley's the guy we're going to be betting on a lot this year. I don't have anything on the card for him this week, but. We saw his teammate Cole Custer was really good here in the fall last season. And yeah, Riley's finished the season so strong last year. We saw him have his spurts last week at Vegas too. So I think he's going to be great this season as well. I'm going to go over to the top Chevy market, Rod. I'm going to do Austin Hill to be the top finishing Chevy at plus 650. And then I'm going to basically insure that with William Byron to be the top finishing Chevy at plus 120. So kind of the way that I'm looking at this, Austin Hill, again, I made the case for his top 5 earlier. Now, Rod, if you go back to last week, right, we made the case for Austin Hill to be the top Chevy instead of taking the top 5. That's what ended up hitting because, well, actually, he hit both because he was 4th, I think. But you got the bigger number at the top Chevy. In this week, I kind of feel the same way. So when it comes to the Chevy camp, obviously William Byron is the guy you're most scared of, right? He's got the chance at coming out and just absolutely dominating this race, killing everyone. I mean, he's been so good here in the Cup car the last couple of years. But if you go back and you look, last season, 1 start in Xfinity in this car, 2nd place at Coda, 3 starts in 2022 in Xfinity, 3rd at 26th and 25th. So no wins for William Byron. It's not a guaranteed thing he wins. So instead of taking him 3-1 to win, getting him plus 120 for top Chevy. If John Hunter beats him, Chandler Smith beats him, which I think are very possible for those guys to win, or if someone else ends up winning this race, you can still be covered on Byron to be the top finishing Chevy at plus 120. If Byron's out of the picture, has an issue, whatever the case may be, Austin Hill, like I mentioned already, he's going to be battling for that top 5. I don't trust Allgaier to be there, so I'm kind of taking him out of the equation. Sam Mayer's the only other Chevy that really scares me. I got a bet coming up on him that will kind of cancel this one out most likely anyways. So I love Austin Hill top finishing Chevy at plus 650. And then I'm also going to take William Byron top finishing Chevy at plus 120. Kind of a way to force some Byron action in there. Doesn't even have to win to pay off for me. If he ends up with a 3rd place finish behind the 2 Toyotas, 2nd place one of those guys, whatever the case may be, he can still cash this one for you. And then I love Austin Hill at this number as well.
Well, and if you think about it too, like with Austin Hill being the top Chevy, we've seen so far that he was the top Chevy 2 out of the last
all 3 races.
Yeah, all 3
won
races.
The first 2, and then last week he was in 4th place and still the top Chevy.
Yeah, so it doesn't take much for that to happen for sure. And even if something pans out the way I think it's going to pan out, I still think with Austin Hill being a top 5 car, that's good enough to be a top Chevy at all. Yeah. So I'm with you on that one as well. And then Byron, I'll talk about him in just a second as well. However,
I like this. I love this next part. We're not to this part yet. Never mind.
Oh no,
I skipped ahead. I like what you did in the next box. That was great, I thought. But
thank
this
you.
box, actually, I disagree with you. So
that's okay. Look, for me, I'm going to take the winning manufacturer as Ford at plus 350 because I honestly believe that the next guy that I'm about to talk about could be the one to win this race. And if you're looking at the winning manufacturer odds for this race, Ford is one of those ones where, I mean, obviously Chevy's a huge favorite because Chevy's done it 2 out of the last 3 times, and then Toyota did it the next time. So guess what? Ford is 2
cars in the race.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. But that to me, Ford is due for this. And so when you look at the odds, Chevy's at minus 150, Toyota's at plus 180, Ford's at plus 350. I mean, honestly, if I think a Ford can win this race, then I believe that plus 350 is a good enough bet to lay down on Ford as the winning manufacturer, because everybody else, I mean, why bet on Chevy at minus 150? I know you only pay the juice if you lose, but why do it to yourself if a Toyota could end up winning and a Ford could end up winning? I mean, I know that this is heavily juiced this way because Byron is in the field and because Byron is the heavy favorite to win this race. That's why the lines are the way they are. But I think you could find value in betting either one of them. Look, if you want Toyota, I know that we're going to talk about that in a second. I know you do. I know you do. But I think Ford's also a good bet because I think a Ford could win this race. And I think one in particular could win this race. Therefore, I think doubling down on the manufacturer is also a good bet to place as well.
My only kind of rebuttal to the Ford case is outside of Custer and Herbst, is there any other Fords that could win? Would you be better at just taking both of them outright potentially? I mean, Ryan Sieg, is he your next best Ford car? Probably, which is not saying much. So I would say that. I would also say, Rod, that Toyota's going to win this race. So you should just bet them at plus 180 because that's my next bet. Look, this worked out for us last week again. But there's only, 5 Toyotas in this field, right? You got the 4 JGR Toyotas, and you've got the Sam Hunt car and Corey Heim, which I get it. But look at last week. The 2 fastest cars throughout the entire day were Toyotas. The car that wins the race, the Toyota. This gives you coverage on John Hunter. So again, if you're not taking him outright, a way to get covered on him. Gives you Chandler Smith. What if Eric Almirola, who I'm going to talk about in a minute here, comes up with his short track prowess and gets it done? I know he wasn't impressive last week, maybe this is the week. What if Sheldon Creed pulls a rabbit out of a hat? Unlikely, yes, but you got Corey Haim in there just in case shit really goes crazy, which is probably unlikely. But again, this worked out for us last week. Again, even if you're going to bet a Toyota outright, which I have multiple in my outright card, gives you coverage to double dip, gives you coverage on the, if you got Chandler Smith and John Hunter both at 6-1. So if you're not going to take both of them, it gives you coverage on the one you're not going to take, allows you to double up on the one you have as well. I think a plus 180. Again, the Ford thing, I get where you're coming from, but there's only really two that could win this. And then Chevrolet, again, they've got the most cars for sure. And Byron is in this race, which is obviously the biggest case for Chevy. That's why they're minus money, but I still think that there is good value in taking Toyota at plus 180. Then, Rod, my late addition to the card, Sam Mayer, top 5. Look, I think Sam Mayer is being a little bit slept on right now. It has been an absolute disaster of a start to the season for him. 38th place at Las Vegas. He completed 7 laps in that race, Rod. Wasn't even hardly out there, gets wrecked. 11th at Atlanta, but didn't, he wasn't really mixing it up a ton or anything like that. So you had that. And then last week, he completed 22 laps before he ended up getting like a piece of that first wreck, and it just took him out and like his day was over. So completes 22 laps, finishes in 36th place. Obviously not good. But let's go back to the end of last season, Rod. He finished here with a 5th place finish at Phoenix. So you're telling me the last time we were here at Phoenix, he finished in the top 5, and he's plus 550 this time. This is a way overreaction to being in the wrong place at the wrong time early in 2 races to start the season, one of which was a super speedway, so it shouldn't matter anyways. And the other one, he just didn't get a chance to show us what he had. So 5th place. He was 25th at Martinsville, but he won at Miami. He was 3rd at Portland. He was 5th at Las Vegas. He was 1st at the Charlotte Roval to end the season. And then you go back and you look and he had multiple, what did he end up winning? 4 races last season, a ton of top 5s, ton of second place finishes. Like, Sam Mayer, very capable. Let's not forget how talented Sam Mayer is. He's definitely being slept on. Plus 550 could be a number you'll never see again for Sam Mayer in this series. I'm really kind of shocked that it's this big, but I think that recent performance, you haven't heard much from him because he's not completed any laps because he keeps getting taken out. If he can avoid the chaos, he can be a guy. And I mentioned him as the other guy that scares me a little bit when it comes to the top Chevy bet. So I didn't include the top Chevy, but I've got the top 5. If he gets a top 5 and ends up being the top Chevy, then it's going to cancel itself out, and I'll take that anyways. But Sam Mayer should not be plus 550. I don't care what type of track we're on, to be honest with you. He can get it done on road courses, as we saw. He can get it done on other tracks as well. And he finished top 5 here 4 races ago, Rod. I know that it was last November, but that's not that long ago. He's back with the same team. Again, I don't want to completely shit on JRM Chevys. They're not bad cars. Their lineups changed just a little bit. They've had a lot of shifting going on there. Allgaier, again, I think is a little bit of a late bloomer, but he'll be fine later. And Sam Mayer's that other guy that's kind of the top guy over there with Allgaier. Sammy Smith is still young and kind of coming out of his shell. Brandon Jones is going to be hit and miss, and he'll pop up and get you some stuff here and there. And a guy we like betting long shots on, but Mayer shouldn't be plus 550 for a top 5, which he is over on Caesars. So winning manufacturer, Toyota plus 180, Sam Mayer top 5 plus 550 on Caesars.
I'm not going to argue with you on a JRM car. So that's for sure.
Wow, I'm so shocked.
I'm surprised, though, that I did not look into his top 5 odds, because I really did. I looked at Sam Mayer over Love, but I also was like, how really confident am I in him? So, but I'm glad you put that on there because I obviously love it. So
I think his odds shifted while we were talking.
Well, JDK,
or did I look at his?
He's 300.
I was looking at his top 3 odds. Damn it, Rod! I knew I fucked up. He's plus 250.
That's all right.
Still. Do we want to take it? Let's take it.
I would.
Plus 250. I think that makes a lot more sense now that I look at that. So that was, again, a late addition. You started talking about him earlier, and I was like, you know what? He's a guy I don't want to get beat on. So Sam Mayer, top 5, plus 250, or plus 300, I guess, over on Bet365, as JDK pointed out. So not too low, JDK. We're going to take it at 3-1.
We'll still take it at 3-1. That's a safe bet in my opinion. So, all right, my first car lift of the year. I'm taking the car lift this time. I know Cody tends to take the car lift, so I'm going to take the car lift.
I didn't have one this week, and I'm glad you did it.
I know, which is kind of why I did it in the first place. I noticed there was no car lift, and I was like, oh, I can car lift now. Because as I started to dig into Cole Custer, right? I thought to myself, well, but he won last year here, right? Winning the championship and all that other good stuff. And it's fantastic for Cole Custer. How can I fit him in there? And then I started looking at his odds and I was like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Oh, I really like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to car lift this. So I'm going to take the Cole Custer car lift. We're going to start with him over John Hunter Nemechek at plus 105. I know that John Hunter Nemechek is going to be a good driver on this track. I know that he's going to get it done. I know that he's probably going to be a top 10 driver as he's been in the past, right? Last year, unfortunately, he did finish 28th, but he started third, led 66 laps, finished 6th, 5th, 6th, 4th, 9th, right? He's led laps in all but 2 of the races that he's been on in this track. John Hunter Nemechek is going to be good here. Don't get us wrong. Don't get it twisted, but I just think that Cole Custer is actually going to be much, much better. Why? Because in 8 total races on this track, he has got 6 top 10s, 3 top 5s, and a win. His last finishes, he finished first here, obviously, in the fall. He led 96 laps. Started on the pole in the spring, led 38 laps. Unfortunately, finished 12th in that race, but 2nd, 4th, 8th, 8th, 7th, 21st in his last several races. Now, mind you, remember, he wasn't even part of the Xfinity Series in the couple of those seasons. So really, in the times that he's been in there, he's got a 12th and a 1st last season, which is really kind of what we can count. But go back to what he's done at similar tracks, right? At Dover, he's got an average finish of 5.6. His last few races at Dover, a 7th place in 2023. He won it in 2019, 4th place in 2019, a 2nd place in 2018. Go back to Iowa, which is not necessarily as comparable, but still a shorter track. In 2019, he finished 29th, but 2nd, 9th, 4th, 5th. Go back to New Hampshire. He finished 22nd last year, but before that, 2nd and a 9th and a 9th. Look, Cole Custer is going to be just a dominant force in this track. So therefore, I think he's going to finish better than John Hunter Nemechek at plus 105. Take him as a top 5 at plus 120. Ladder that up, car lift that up to a top 3 at plus 225. And then Caesars has a nice little boost on him to win at 9-1. He benefits from a William Byron being in this because that 9-1, I don't think if William Byron is in this race, you aren't getting 9-1 on Cole Custer to win this race. So I love it. I love this car lift. I love it. So take it. John Hunter Nemechek, Custer over Nemechek at plus 105, top 5 car at plus 120, top 3 car at plus 225, and then to win at 9-1 with that Caesars boost. It's 8-1 somewhere else, but or 8-1 without the boost. But you know, just take it where you can find it.
Yeah, I like it. No arguments from me here. Great job on your first car lift, Rod. I'm very proud of you for taking that on. Double SHR car lifts this week too. So watch out. They've got the short flat tracks figured out. So go check out the Cup Series episode, of course, from yesterday to get the other one. All right, Rod. I think that's the end of the show. Have a good night.
All right, we'll see you later, everybody. That was great.
Oh yeah, winners.
Time to get some winners.
Gotta give you the winners. All right, Rod. Chandler Smith, 6-1. Look, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Chandler Smith is fast. He's good. He's got revenge on the mind from last week. Give me Chandler Smith at 6-1 again. If there's not Cup Series guys in this, not going to be 6-1. He is 6-1. Love it. Love Chandler Smith. I am going to go. I'm preparing to hurt myself. Not with Sheldon Creed. Don't worry. I'm not that prepared. Eric Almirola, dipping back in there. 14-1 again. Look, he's in an SHR, or not an SHR car. He was in an SHR car for a long time, Rod. He is in a Gibbs Toyota, which, again, fastest cars out there. We know that he's a good driver. Last week, it was a little bit disappointing, but short flat tracks have been where he has been really, really good in the past. 13th place in his last Cup Series start. Sure, not that impressive, but not that bad for being as loaded as the Cup Series is. Ran good, had strong runs there. Had a 12th place, a 6th place not too long ago. He's got 2 4th place finishes in the past here. One at New Hampshire a couple of years ago. In last season, he was leading at New Hampshire when he had a tire issue. I don't remember. I think the tire fell off. I think they didn't get it secure and it fell off. Whatever the deal was, he was leading. But yeah, I think Eric Almirola at 14-1 again. He's in one of these Gibbs cars. I'm not completely sold he's going to come out and dominate this thing, but I do know he's good at short flat tracks, which has always been a thing with him. He's one of those. Again, there's certain guys that make you a lot of money on certain styles. Eric Almirola is one of those guys. I'm going to hit him when I get the chance on short flat tracks. 14-1 is still a good number. And then Austin Hill is 20-1. Have we not learned anything? I rest my case.
Honestly, if you just don't put anything on every week, it doesn't
20-1 on Caesars for Austin Hill. If we've not learned anything ever in the history of betting on Xfinity, he can pop up and do it anytime, anywhere. It makes no sense to me. He should never be 20-1. Rod, 1 year ago, last week at Las Vegas, we hit this bet. We had him 25-1 at Las Vegas. He led, I believe, 2 laps, and they were the last 2 laps of the race. And do I think he'd be the fastest car or dominate this race? Absolutely not. But I've talked him up all show, top 5, top Chevy, and he should not be 20-1. It's absolutely ridiculous. So Austin Hill 20-1 on Caesars, you definitely have to get in on that.
I agree with all of that, but I also look at, so for me, Byron's still at 3-1. I mean, we've seen Kyle Busch enter these races, especially in the Truck Series, and be not even close to 3-1. So the fact that Byron is still 3-1 to win this race, I feel like it's worth taking because he's 3-1. If he was like plus 150 or even minus money, I would definitely, say that's probably not worth it. But we've propped up other 3-1 bets, and we've said that other 3-1 bets are pretty good bets. So for me, it's kind of like you might as well just toss something on William Byron, because if he does end up winning and you don't have anything on him, well, you're going to be a little pissed off. And on this track, he's got a 4th place and a 1st place. Like that's what he's done in the Xfinity Series. He's won and he's finished in 4th place. Now, granted, that was back in 2017. He hasn't done it since, but dare I say he's gotten better in that time, right?
Yeah, better than being the Xfinity Series champion back then too, because he was. And
yeah,
I mean, obviously, he's really broken out over the past season. We've seen William Byron come completely out. So at 3-1, it's hard to argue it. Again, I like the JGR Toyotas, but Byron is not a guy you can count on, and that's why I kind of hedged myself. That's why I took him to be the top Chevy at the plus 120, because I didn't have him outright. I knew you were going to get there. I wanted to have something on him because he's that good. And I mean, we read the stats yesterday, but it was like 99% of the time in the fall he was top 5 in this race. It's been like 75% of the time over the last 4 races in the Cup Series. And he's just a very, very good driver. And limited on the Xfinity Series starts over the last couple of seasons. Like I said, I think it's just a 4 starter the last 2 years. So really small sample size. But for as talented as he is, as much of a star we've seen him become in the Cup Series, pretty hard to count a guy out like that. And honestly, I am shocked that it's only 3-1. I thought it would be shorter based on how he has done lately. And especially what he's done at this track. So, it's really hard to argue with having him on your card.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where it's like Kyle Busch. I mean, you bet him and you think, oh, he's probably going to end up winning. Granted, we know that it doesn't happen more than it doesn't, but you'd kick yourself if this was the one time that you were like, nah, I don't think this is going to happen, and then it does. And then you're like, oh, man, I literally, this is the one time that it didn't happen. So Byron 3-1. Much better proposition than most. And then, of course, I gave you Cole Custer, which is who I really think is going to win this race at 9-1. So kind of covered you on both ends of that one as well.
Yeah, and sometimes just don't overthink the outright, right? And it's like, last week Kyle Busch was minus 110 in the trucks, and we were like, it's not worth it. You got to pick and choose your spots for sure, but 3-1, you're getting a pretty good price. Like, yeah, he hasn't won in the last 4 Xfinity Star, but a lot of different circumstances and stuff, you're getting a good number. It's like Larson yesterday in the Cup Series show, 7-1. It seems fishy because it's like, why is he 7-1? And you got all these questions, and then you're like, you got to remember, it's just Kyle Larson being the best driver in the world. You just have to take him, and then I think the same thing applies for Byron here. So, there's no argument against it really, and I think you're getting a pretty strong number.
NASCAR bettors are spoiled. You guys are spoiled out there. You see too many 20-1 odds, too many 10-1 odds. You guys want every single one to be like that. You're damn spoiled. But we love you all. Huge Mistake Gambling saying, love the show, love the background picture. It'd be really cool if the background changed with these races. Okay, maybe I have to take that into account.
There's a little suggestion.
Yeah, I love it. I
do like, that's an AI created track, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an AI created track. So.
It's pretty cool looking. I think that's nice. Nice design for a future race.
iRacing race. So, all right, it is time to get out your pen and paper. We are going to go over the bets, and for those of you watching on YouTube, you will see it on your screen. We begin with Cody, starting you out with Austin Hill as a top 5 car at plus 220, adding Chandler Hill as a top 5 car as well at plus 120. I gave you AJ Allmendinger over AJ Hill at plus Austin Hill, AJ Hill. AJ Allmendinger over AJ Hill, the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. AJ Allmendinger over Austin Hill at plus 105. And then Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek as a top 3 car at plus 150. I said Sam Mayer would finish better than Jesse Love at minus 120. Cody gave you John Hunter to finish better than Justin Allgaier, much to my chagrin, at minus 120. And then piled on and said Chandler Smith would finish better than Justin Allgaier at minus 110. I said Riley Herbst would be a top 5 car at plus 190. And then Cody said that William Byron would be the top Chevy at plus 120. Or if that didn't happen, then Austin Hill would be the top Chevy at plus 650. I said that not Dark Horse, because they're not Dark Horse and Xfinity, but that Mustang, whatever. The winning manufacturer would be Ford.
I think they might be Dark Horses now, aren't they?
Are they in Xfinity as well?
I'll look it up. I can't remember.
I just know that they're Fords. So Ford plus 350. Listen, outside of NASCAR, you could take my automotive knowledge and you can just throw it in the trash, because that's where it is. I have none. I am not a handy guy at all. All right. Winning manufacturer. I'm telling you, I don't even worry about it. The winning manufacturer for Cody was Toyota at plus 180. Plus, he tossed in a Sam Mayer top 5 bet there bonus at plus 300. I gave you the Custer car lift, my first one of the year. Took him over John Hunter Nemechek at plus 105 as a top 5 car at plus 120, a top 3 car at plus 225. And to win this race, grab that Caesars bonus at plus 900 before it disappears. Cody gave you Chandler Smith at 6-1 to win this race. Eric Almirola, again, I didn't even have to delete it, at 14-1 to win this race. And Austin Hill at 20-1, actually not 18-1 to win this race. Shop around, kids. That's this is your commercial to shop around. And then I said, sprinkling a little on William Byron at 3-1 is not a bad idea.
See, that's why you got to listen to the whole show and not just go to the end of the YouTube and screenshot the picks, because things change. I did a little shopping around while we were talking and found the 20-1 instead of the 18-1. Also, yes, they are racing the Dark Horse in Xfinity now.
Oh, so. There we go. I should have known better. I mean, again, it's, my head only holds so much information.
Is it that much of a different? I mean, they're both Mustangs, so
they really are.
Not to offend any car people out there, but it's the same thing.
I'm a Jeep guy. I love myself some Jeeps. I can't even do it. All right, man. Sadly, there's no truck, so this is our last race breakdown of the week before our underdog and DFS picks. So a little bit sad that we're not breaking down another truck race, but
yeah, no trucks this week. But they, we heard them a little bit last week, Rod. 80-1. I mean, on top of all the other bets we hit, they need a week to recover, so that's okay. I believe they're back. I think we're going to Bristol next week. Is that correct? And I think all 3 series are back in action, so we don't have to miss them too long. There is an IndyCar race, Rod. Whether we get odds for that race or not, to be seen. But we're going to be back for 2 more shows still this week. We'll have Underdog and DFS, of course. Schedule to TBD. We've got some rearranging to go on the next couple of days. So we'll be, again, go to the YouTube, click the bell, then you'll know when we're going live, because it might not be at the regularly scheduled time the next few days.
And for those of you who have been joining us on X the last couple of days, holy cow, thank God for you. It's been fantastic to see this going on. So yeah, just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's great. Love the live viewer count. We appreciate you for joining. And let's go make some money this week.
Indeed. All right, then. Well, let's send everybody out to go catch these lines before all you sharps end up moving them. So send everybody on their way. Let them know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. I got an article for the Southern tournament coming out, or it's actually out over there for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Got a 60-1 long shot in there that deserves a little bit of a sprinkle, Rod. That's my dark horse of the week. To bring
Cody and his long shots.
Hey, Roger Caruth, 80-1 last week. How'd that work out for us? So I like my long shots. They're always fun when they hit. So, or at least give you a sweat sometimes, which is nice too. But ton of work out over there. So make sure you're following that. Again, go over to the YouTube, hit the subscribe button, click on that bell. It'll notify you when we're live. You can join us like all these beautiful people have today. We appreciate it. And 2 more shows to close out the week. Some fantasy stuff for you. Hopefully some IndyCar stuff. Whatever else we come up with. Maybe you'll have NHRA picks. Who knows?
I think by now these guys would follow us straight down the rabbit hole to NHRA. So fantastic stuff. I'm on X at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review. Check out my F1 article coming out later this week. And then check out the Back Road. I can't be on it this week. I got another obligation that I just found out about. But Seth and Elliot holding it down for you with another special guest on Thursday. Check them out on In Between Media. Hey, it's Australian rules football, start of the season tonight at midnight. Stay up with me and watch it. Maybe we'll see what's going on with Australia. It's Melbourne taking on Sydney. How can you not love that?
Oh, that sounds like a thrilling matchup.
Hey, it's footy, baby. All right. Never mind. It's racing. We'll see you guys tomorrow with some whatever we dish up, and we'll have fun bringing it to you as we always do. So until then, let's go racing and let it ride.